A very common theme over the course of the weekend in the Academy Trophy in particular, because of course these karts are based on the OK Junior format, and with the lack of grip that the drivers are finding, there's a lot of grip I should say, but if they come like 2-3 centimeters off the line, you're going to start to slip and slide. There could be a lot of spins over the course of this weekend. Tibor Ramakas and Dino Storescu on the front row of the grid, Ivo Besterer and Joel Pajola, William Go and Nando Weichselbaumer from Nicolas Roos and Timofey Mikhailov, Harry Arnett and Alexander Dashkov, then Christian Jorgensen and Matilda Paz, Riccardo Cirelli and Arthur Dorisson from Tiziano Kuznini and Harry Mamassi, Jan Pinto and Batti Yodarim, then Lockhill McGregor and Elina Rolfsen, Pedro Cacciara and Henry Jocelyn from Kian Gauchi, Ruben Dovalli and Rio Ketzeri. So the drivers all getting themselves up to speed. As you can see, they are all identical in appearance, the karts. X-Bridge chassis, Vortex engines, LeConte tyres, everybody gets exactly the same bit of equipment, and the rules are very clear. You only have one mechanic, there are no teams, so you just turn up and you put on a show. Very good work from the drivers so far, and they've come from far and wide, all 6 continents represented in this fantastic competition, all across North and South America, from Africa, from Europe, from Asia, and even from Australia and New Zealand they have come, and they will represent their country in fine style. They only get a lap and a half to come out onto the circuit based on the location of the pit lane, which is just on the exit of the second sector. So now the karts are in position. But as I mentioned, you know, the drivers have found, particularly in the academy, that if you even come off a racing line to 2 to 3 centimeters, it can be very easy to lose traction and spin off the road. Are we going to go racing this time? No, false start. So the first ever Academy Trophy race at Cremona is delayed by a short while. So obviously they are on the repeater light, so we're not under starters' orders just yet. So everybody obviously getting themselves ready for a restart. There you go, they have been slowed up. And that's Nigel Edwards down at the side of the road helping, because it's actually Pasquale Lupoli who is the race director for the FIA Karting Academy Trophy. And then they swap over, obviously, for the KZ and KZ2 categories. But the drivers in the academy, a lot of them really struggling here this weekend, because many of them will not be used to so much grip, so much traction around the course. So this is a very different ball game for a lot of the competitors in the Academy Trophy. Look on this particular hairpin. Oh, we've had karts stop. We've had karts stop at the hairpin. Now, if they stop, they've got to push start them. That's 4 karts. They've actually ended up backing each other up so much that they've now got to restart. So that's a big problem. That's Riccardo Cirelli, the 532 in there. That is Jan Pinto of Israel. We've got the 2 other drivers involved in that as well. But what a mess. And that's very unfortunate. We've got 3 karts there who are not going to take up the start. What a disaster. So the drivers are now going to come through. They're in their 2 tram lines. Can they push start them again? That's the real problem, because there's 2 drivers desperately trying to. The others are not even going to get off to the start. Yep, the marshals are going to push them off the road. What a shame. So in the concertina, 4 of them are not going to take the start. Now they're going to go around again. We've got a false start once more. So a very bizarre situation, but that's Riccardo Cirelli, Tizi Kuznini, Jan Pinto, and unbelievably, one of them that will not start the race is Arthur Dorisson, the man who won at Genk. Well, that really does blow the Academy Trophy title fight wide open. A non-start for the Frenchman is catastrophic. Well, that's big drama in the very first race of the day. Now, one of them has managed to restart and push start the kart. Now, who is it that's done that? It's the 504 that has got started again. That's Riccardo Cirelli. So the Italian Riccardo Cirelli has restarted on home soil, but all 3 of the other drivers have not been able to do so. So Tiziano Kuznini, Jan Pinto, and race winner at Genk, Arthur Dorisson, is out of this first race of the day. That is absolutely terrible luck for all 3 drivers in that particular moment. And Riccardo Cirelli is going to have time, I think, to get himself back to the back of the grid. He won't be able to take up his original position on the grid, which is, again, devastating from his point of view, but at least he can get to the back of the grid and race. So Riccardo Cirelli, they're at the red line, so he obviously can't get himself back into his original position. So he's got to get to the back of the grid. So they're going to be bunched up once again. The officials are there coming out of the final turn to back them up. Ramakas, Storescu, Besterer, Pajola, Go, Weichselbaumer, Roos and Mikhailov, and we are racing up to the first corner. Great start from Ramakas. No problems at all for him. Round the outside, is there going to be any chance of Raspa? Oh, from second all the way down the field. Storescu has lost a lot of places there on the start, and he tucks back in behind Mikhailov. So a very tricky start as we are under race orders now, and Ramekes leads the way. Second place is Ivo Besteira. So as they work their way through in the chicane, a very good start to proceedings for Ramekes. The Polish driver Ivo Besteira in second place. There's a move for third place already, as up on the inside, I think that was Nando Weichselbaumer trying to move his way forward. So is that a move that, no, sorry, that is the 5:38. That's William Go. So William Go has got into third position. So a good run, yeah, from the young man from the Philippines. A couple of drivers already starting to make an impact on this race. But out of the final turn, and Thibaut Ramekes is well gone. But Matilda Pats is under investigation. We're not entirely sure what for. But seeing as how it's off the start, that might be the start that is the problem for Matilda Pats. She's up to 8th place off a very good start. A couple of drivers battling away for position up to the 3rd or 4th corner in the midfield. But it's Ramekes who leads. Besteira is in second. Then it's Go, Roos, Pajola, Mikhailov, Weichselbaumer, Pats, Stroescu, and Mimasi, who has made a terrific start. The Canadian is up into 10th place. What a launch. So the drivers work their way through. Up through the S's once again, and they come into that 3rd sector. There is one racing line. That's it. You don't really have a lot of opportunities to come off the racing line and make a move. However, that is completely denied by Timofey Mikhailov. And now, oh, goodness me. Big defense there from Joel Pajola as Mikhailov gets into 5th. Pajola has to cut right across Nando Weichselbaumer, who slams on the brakes to try and make sure there's no contact. Well, that was very feisty indeed in the terms of the defensive strategy from Joel Pajola. But out in front, Thibaut Ramekes making good work of things out in front. No major stresses for him at the moment in the lead, with Ivo Besteira running second. 3rd place for Go, 4th place for Roos. And then it is Mikhailov in front of Pajola, Weichselbaumer, Pats, Stroescu, and Mimasi. So Batim Yildirim, the Turkish driver, running in 11th place in front of Harry Arnett, the Australian. And then Christian Jorgensen has just lost out to the British driver, Henry Jocelyn, who's making good progress as he takes his way back up through the field. He's had a terrible start to the weekend after a difficult qualifying lap, but now he is really launching back. Jocelyn 13th, Jorgensen 14th, then it is Deshkov, who's running in 15th place, ahead of Elina Rolfsen, the Norwegian, and then Riccardo Cirelli is up to 17th, ahead of Lochiel McGregor and Rio Ketsari. There's some great battles all the way through this field as they work their way around. Very tricky to hold the kart on the racing line. There is so much grip that if you just come off slightly, the back end of the kart wants to slide out. So you've got to try and essentially keep your kart in the black tram line that you run around the circuit. That racing line is so critical, and it's very difficult, particularly for these youngsters, to keep the kart nailed to it, especially if they want to make an overtake. Because to make an overtake, you've got to come off that racing line in order to try and dive up the inside or go around the outside. So it's not easy. Ramekes, Besteira, Go, Roos, and Mikhailov. And there's a warning flag gone out to Christian Jorgensen. Not quite sure what that was in aid of, or what the reason was for giving him that. There's Ivo Besteira, currently running in 2nd place. Running in the 5:01, the number obviously going to the ASN that won the title last year, and that of course was Poland, courtesy of their young man Maciej Gladish. He was the title winner last year, but obviously now it is going to be Ivo Besteira that will try and bring the title home again for Poland. Fastest lap of the race for Thibaut Ramekes as he extends the gap. Ivo Besteira is 9/10 of a second back, and there is a warning flag gone out for the 5:51. That is Lochiel McGregor. So the Kiwi has had a bit of a moment out there on the course. Not entirely sure what it was. The only retirements we've had from this race so far, though, are Art de Dorisson, Jan Pinto, and Tiziano Grisnini, the ones who didn't get the start under order. And that is devastating for Art de Dorisson. It's looking less and less likely that he will repeat his race victory in the final from Genk. So this is advantage everybody else as they're going to open up the title fight. Thibaut Ramekes, though, looking very strong at the front end of the field, just taking it nicely in his stride. And he's getting more and more. Oh, and a bit of a spin further down the field. That's Hadi Mimasi going off the road. Looks as though he just got slightly out of line. And he manages to get back on the road again, but the dust is kicked up. So there is Mikhailov in front of Pajola, and then Nando Weichselbaumer. Oh, Pajola's going to go for it on the inside of Mikhailov. Mikhailov on the sideline of the curb, and this could be a chance for Weichselbaumer to get through as well. Weichselbaumer's definitely having a look at it. They come onto the main straight, but that was cheeky from Joel Pajola, the last moment to get through on the inside, and he took it. And there's another warning flag gone out. That's the 5:05 getting a warning flag now. So That is Henry Jocelyn, the British driver, trying to make progress. And he's doing well. He's up to 11th position. Hadi Mamasi going off the road has actually dropped him down to 22nd, I'm afraid. So the Canadian, who was running very strong. In fact, I'm trying to see where Hadi Mamasi is. I'm not entirely sure. He's come around again, you know. I think he's had a problem. So Hadi Mamasi might well be down at the very back of the field. I think he might be out of the race, which is very unfortunate if that's the case. But certainly the Canadian, having worked down very hard. Yes, he has retired. That is such a shame. He was up to 10th place, made a cracking start. And unfortunately now it's all come undone for him. 2 laps to go. Ramekes in front of Besterda. Go, Roos and Pajola. This is the battle between Weichselbaumer and Mikolov, and Weichselbaumer really starting to get frustrated behind the Malaysian now. Come on, get on with it. Nando Weichselbaumer all over the back of Timofey Mikolov, in through the left, in through the right. You can't really afford to get out of the racing line by even a couple of centimetres, otherwise the back end's really going to start to slide, and that's where the problems are going to come in. Now for the Academy Trophy, it's worth bearing in mind the tyre regulations and allocations are slightly different. You actually get the one set of tyres to take you from the beginning of qualifying to the end of the final. That's it. You don't get any spares unless there is a puncture. That's the only way you're actually going to get another tyre. So obviously looking after those tyres through the weekend, critical. Last lap, Thibaut Ramekes running in front of Besterda by 1.6. He's managed to open up the gap ever so gradually. Joel Pajola gets the fastest lap of the race that time by, though, a 48.2 for him. The Finn is definitely making good progress on the back straight. Thibaut Ramekes looking very comfortable in this first qualifying heat of the weekend for the Academy Trophy. So it looks pretty plain sailing for the Belgian. He did a fair job last time out. He just didn't get any luck in the finals, so it all kind of fell apart. But here at Cremona, he is looking to get himself back into title-winning contention once again. It's ever so smooth for Thibaut Ramekes this time. He comes up the final turn, checkered flag flies, and Ramekes is triumphant in the first qualifying heat of the weekend for FIA Karting Academy Trophy 2022. Excellent work from the Belgian. He comes through ahead of Ivo Besterda and William Go. Then Nicolas Roos, Joel Pajola and Timofey Mikolov. A lot of drivers in dire straits, though, as they try and make progress through the field. A lot of great comebacks, though. Terrific progress from Henry Jocelyn. 12 places made up. Bati Yildirim came up 7. And even Rio Ketsari did a great job. 9 places made up off the start. So some fascinating situations for the drivers as they come through. But what a sensational battle it's been. Matilda Pats coming into the pits there at the very end of the race by the look of it. So Matilda Pats having a bit of a problem on the final lap. Can't quite make out what the situation is there, but looks as though she unfortunately ended up out of the race on the very last lap and had to come into the pits to retire. So that's very unfortunate for the German talent. But I'm afraid it doesn't really go her way in the end. So the drivers are finished up for that one. And we can give you the provisional results. It is Thibaut Ramekes in front of Ivo Besterda, William Go and Nicolas Roos from Joel Pajola and Timofey Mikolov, Nando Weichselbaumer and Dino Stroescu, Harry Arnett and Henry Jocelyn in the top 10. Bati Yildirim is 11th in front of Christine Jorgensen, then Riccardo Cirelli ahead of Elina Rolfsen. Alexander Deshkov is in front of Rio Ketsari. The Portuguese driver Pedro Cachada came home in 17th in front of the Maltese racer Kian Gauchi. 19th place, just in behind, was Lochiel McGregor, the young man from New Zealand. Ruben Dovale of Mozambique in 20th place. The retirements, well, we had Matilda Pats on the very last lap, Hadi Mamasi having a problem, the Canadian, and then we also had a bit of an issue for the 3 drivers that couldn't make the start. Arthur Dorisson, Tiziano Cugnini, and Yam Pinto. None of those 3 drivers were able to take the start after a bit of a moment at the very end of the race. At the very end of the formation lap, I should say. So, very interesting stuff from the Academy Trophy and a good start to proceedings. The Academy drivers, obviously, this is fascinating watching them at the end of the pit lane. We've obviously got the next drivers ready to go on their dummy grid. But now we get to talk to the man who got the overall fastest qualifying time in the Academy Trophy, the talented Colombian racer Matias Oruela, who was very excited after his qualifying lap. The first